Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the warm introductions. I know people have come quite far, and hopefully this should be something really interesting to kind of take you through. So, as Sam quite kindly said, I own Easy Crypto Hunter. We are one of the UK's largest GPU mining hardware specialists. So we sell those wonderful mining machines that are outside and help get everybody involved, because mining is fantastically profitable, even in the UK. And a lot of people have all these misconceptions and all these problems, and that's really what I want to kind of take you through today, just to kind of help everybody understand how it works, why it's so important, what are the opportunities, and obviously, worst case scenario, you guys are going to end up feeling well educated, and if nothing else, it will certainly help you trading as well, which we'll get to later. So that's kind of the title of the talk. Is it all too good to be true? Surely you can't just have a machine and you plug it in the wall and you turn it on and it makes you money. You can. It's a pretty cool world. I'm sure we're all aware crypto offers us some amazing opportunities, and this is one of the magical ones that we come across. So this is pretty much what we're going to get through today. Easy Crypto Hunter, who, what and why. Mining myths debunked. That should be quite excited. And opportunities and what is possible with crypto mining in the UK. So who are Easy Crypto Hunter? So what we're all about, it was founded by myself in 2017, so actually only in November did the first payment go through in the company, and within, what is that, maybe 8 months, 9 months, we're now the UK's leading provider, which is ridiculous, because I'm just a kid that watched videos on YouTube, right? And here we are. So this is some of the advantages that the crypto space offers. You know, just like the coins, just like everything, the market and everything around it's moving extremely quickly, and we've capitalized on that and are doing quite well as best we can. So we obviously have been invested. I've personally been invested in crypto for quite a long time. We run our own mining farm as well. We've got our own facilities that we now do that. And we spend a lot of time now attending and running events to kind of help educate people into crypto, because a lot of people, you go to all these blockchain conferences, I guess. How many of you guys have been to like a blockchain crypto conference in London, or, you know, there's all these conferences coming. There's no one talking about mining, but yet that's where everything comes from in the first place. So there's kind of a really big need to kind of explain these things, and that's what we try to do. So the way that we do things is a little bit different. We have real people, a totally open office, so any of you can come and see us, come and see the equipment, and we kind of like to keep things as transparent as possible. So this is kind of why I kind of did things, really. So, you know, a friendly face and a stupid shirt into crypto mining. So there's way too many scams and BS and Ponzi's and all sorts of crap out there, as I'm sure you guys are aware of. So we just wanted to create a straightforward, open, honest dialogue with our customers, and make sure everyone is at least well educated. Fine, it may or may not be for you, but at least you can now make an informed decision. And that's really what we want to be able to do. That's pretty much about it. So this is kind of what we do. So the core services that we offer, really, and the kind of elements that are into, obviously we do mining rigs, as is the one out of there. We also do mining farms, which typically we class as 10 or more rigs for a farm. We also, sorry, is that going? Is that better? Is it on?
It should be.
We can, is that on? Yeah? No? 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 Yeah? Okay, yeah, okay. I think so. We good at the back? Is that good? Sound? Kind of? I think we need it up a bit. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go. I think we got that. Perfect. Excellent. Thanks, guys. No, that's fine. Perfect. So, start again. Did we kind of miss the first bit at the back? Is it, we got it? We're okay? Okay, perfect, yeah. So we also do crypto containers. Now, there's a cool little video here that I won't show you. I think we've had enough tech drama this morning to get out the PowerPoint slide. But on the rig outside, we've got a little video. So we actually do, imagine a shipping container for like cargo shipping. We actually specialize in decking out those with a really large number of rigs. So I only got back from Mayfair last week to do a consultation with the royal Saudi family to put some containers out there. So there's some big players now moving into this space, and that's kind of one of the things we specialize in too. And then, of course, consultancy. So I was speaking at the Crypto Investor Show in London. We'll be keynoting next to the CEO of Ripple and the CEO of Coinbase at the MacJack Festival on the 13th of December. Sorry, 13th of this month in June. So there's a lot going on in crypto space at the moment, and we want to try and get involved. So thank you. So the boring stuff, obviously this is crypto. You guys kind of know the rules, the regs, you know how it works. Crypto's all over the place. All the figures that we've put together in this presentation for you are very, very fresh indeed. We've done this very recently. But again, this is where we are. Please take everything with a pinch of salt. Come and speak to us in person. We'll show you all the details behind where the numbers came from. But of course, we have to put a disclaimer up there because what's true today may very well be different tomorrow. But you know, luckily we all understand how that works here. So, first place to start is what are mining rigs actually doing? Because if you don't really understand what they do, it's very difficult to understand where this magical money comes from. So it's very simple. So I guess a lot of you are pretty familiar with the ledger system that all the crypto kind of blockchain works on. So if you imagine all these different computers here as an effective mining rig, essentially, and what ends up happening is my rigs, your rigs, the rigs that are out there in the corridor, they essentially process all the transactions. So if I wanted to send you some Ethereum, it's machines like mine and yours that will ultimately process that transaction to make sure nothing's been made up, nothing's been lost, all the records are equal, everything checks out. Every single computer in the world, every mining rig, simultaneously verifies all the information is correct. And that ends up meaning that this public ledger gets updated, and it's a very nice way to make sure everything is tickety-boo, which is one of the big advantages of blockchain, unlike a normal system, which we'll get to in a second. So in a nutshell, without giving you all the crazy technicals, you're essentially just renting computer power. You know, so you're all very familiar with paying for, you know, I'm sure a lot of you may have your own website. You don't think anything of paying money to host your web server, which it's kind of like the same thing, like you're paying for a computer to host something. Mining is a similar kind of logic, like ultimately you're renting out computer power to help provide power to a network in its simplest form. So obviously they're solving very complex mathematical algorithms, which, you know, go over my head, don't need to worry about it. And essentially as a thank you for providing power to that network, you get paid with a little bit of that respective coin that you're help mining. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So obviously Bitcoin was the first mineable coin, and now there are hundreds, and that's kind of where it starts to get really exciting. So hopefully that's a quickie overview. You don't really need to understand more than that. You know, I can start talking about block times and rates and all this stuff, but it's just not really too helpful. So mining myth busting, this is where it starts to get really interesting, because no doubt these questions some of you may kind of have in your head. So we're going to basically run through, is it really needed? Because hang on Josh, like not every coin is a mineable coin. What's wrong with Neo or Ripple or IOTA? They're great coins, you can't mine those. Fair point, so we can go through that. There's only one way to mine. We'll kind of discuss, you know, you might have heard of different types of machines, or there's this to do and that to do. We'll kind of try to settle that a little bit. Ethereum is, you know, the big coin that everyone hears about when it comes to mining. Oh, should we mine Ethereum? ASIC, high maintenance, too much electric, way too technical, you know, it's some really difficult things. And do we need to be a crypto expert? And the answer to all of these, we're going to fly through now. So mining is unnecessary. So proof of work, that's probably a term some of you are familiar with. So effectively what that is the machines are proving the work by the algorithms and the maths and the numbers that they're crunching. It is effectively making sure that in order for something to be verified, some work has been done to achieve that. So that's kind of where the algorithms come in. So without these systems happening, no transactions are able to take place. So without mining, nothing can be verified. So sometimes people think, you know, there's all these other coins, Josh, what do we need? But we all kind of know in this room, pretty much everything is traded, or at least in trading pairs, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, which of course are the two biggest mineable coins. So without cryptocurrency mining full stop, the whole network, irrespective of whether it's a mineable coin or not, is going to come to a horrible ending. So there really is a criticality in mining, which is quite important. So there's only one way to mine. This is kind of where people get all kind of pepped up on, you know, I'm sure a lot of you have heard, is anyone familiar with a Bitcoin miner S9, Antminer S9? Is that, anyone heard of that? Okay, a little bit, so it's a vague term. Okay, we'll discuss that in a second. So at the moment, according to CoinMarketCap, which is I'm sure on a website you're familiar with, there are 584 mineable different coins. That's actually over 600, and we made this presentation less than a week ago. So that gives you a pretty good idea of how quick things are mining. So you may have heard of Bitcoin and Ethereum. There are literally over 600 other coins that you can mine and make a nice buck doing. There's more being added daily, and the algorithms here, this is something to kind of understand. So again, without the technical details, you don't need to know. Everyone understands that you have Windows and you have Mac, two different operating systems, decoded differently, they run differently, perform a similar function. An algorithm is nothing more than the language in which a coin is written in, basically. And different things are able to do different algorithms at different speeds. That's all you need to know. So ASIC machines, and why this is important, is an application-specific integrated chip. So in a nutshell, that is what they look like. You've probably seen that picture floating around. Now, what are they in essence? So the biggest machines of their nature are, there's a big company in China called Bitmain, and they specialize and dominate the world's market in ASIC mining. So effectively, an ASIC chip is just, imagine like a computer chip, and it's very, very, very good at just doing one thing, and it does it very well. So unlike where we're going to go in a minute with the graphics card stuff that can do lots of things, an ASIC chip is a one-trick pony, and it's fantastic at doing that one job. So GPU, which a graphics processing unit, so the cards you've seen outside there today, it is nothing more than the same card that you would put in a normal gaming computer to play computer graphics on. It's the same thing, which has a lot of advantages that we'll get to shortly. And this graph kind of in one slide kind of gives you a good overview of the whole mining space. So a lot of people ask me in the mining world, oh Josh, should I buy an ASIC machine or should I buy a GPU machine? And there's some fundamental differences between them. So you don't need to worry about the top two, that's fine, because they're all kind of good, unless of course that compares with cloud mining. Now, is anybody in the room involved in cloud mining? I bet a few of you probably will be. You know, you've paid a company, maybe like Genesis is a big example. You pay money and then they give you so much mining power each month. Now, cloud mining serves its purpose, and it's a great way to kind of dip your toe in the market. But if mining is so profitable, which it is, why would anybody in the right mind sell you their mining power? You have to ask, right? Like, they're obviously making a nice bit off the customers. So the way that cloud mining works is you're tied in for a contract, typically a 2-year contract. You don't really have any flexibility in what you can and can't mine. And ultimately, you pay this much and you receive this much power. And that's pretty much how the equation works. So what we need to kind of do is obviously in 100% of profit. So on cloud mining, obviously you've got to think the company that's hosting all your gear is going to be taking a nice chunk of cash because they're making business too. So cloud mining is not really something that, you know, I believe in as a model for the customer. But that said, it has its advantages if you just want a totally hands-free approach and kind of get involved. So ASIC mining, which are these kind of block machines that are very popular, the ones that the only way you can mine Bitcoin is with an ASIC machine. And what you end up having is a machine that comes from China. You get a 3-month warranty, which effectively is no warranty, really, by the time it gets to you and gets back. And because it's just one machine and it does one thing very well, the best miner in the world, as I said, is the Antminer S9 at the moment. It's the most powerful Bitcoin miner in the world. Now, no one is using the S7s or the S8s because it's just a one chip that does one thing very well. As soon as the next chip comes out that's 2 or 3 times more powerful, the old machines instantaneously pretty much become trash. So you end up with this massive horsepower redundancy cycle. And that's the reason why a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, what about the difficulty increase, Josh? Like, isn't Bitcoin getting harder and harder and harder to mine? Yes, because it's on these types of machines. That when the new one comes out, up and up and up and up and up, its difficulty goes, because those machines can only do one coin, they can only mine Bitcoin. So all the power goes in that direction. GPU is a little bit different because you have the access to be able to mine everything. It's a bit of a different proposition. So because obviously we're all UK based, GPU graphics cards come with 12-month warranty, you're kind of covered, and it's a little bit of a different proposition. And if one of the cards was to break, there's 6 in a rig, all the other 5 work fine. If something breaks in an ASIC miner, the whole thing's toast. So there's a lot of kind of flexibility with GPU that doesn't necessarily come with ASIC. You should mine Ethereum. This is a big one. So a lot of you have heard about Ethereum. It's a kind of very, very popular coin to mine. It's where a lot of people start, and it's a great coin. I love Ethereum. I hold a lot of it. I believe in it massively in the future. But I've been told to mine Ethereum. how many mega hashes are you getting, Josh? That's the question we get asked all the time. And that is a question that kind of gets our goat a little bit. And what we mean by that is that rig that we have outside, we use a card called the 1080 Ti. You don't need to know the details, but it's the most powerful graphics card in the world. There's 7 or 8 cards below it that are still profitable, but the 1080 Ti is the most profitable. And the reason why that's such a great card is everyone says, oh, Josh, I bet that's amazing on Ethereum. Well, to be honest, I don't know. Well, of course I do know, but I don't care. Because actually, this is a website called whattomine.com. It shows you what the best coin is to mine.com, pretty great name. And you can basically, above this, there's actually like a little calculator where you put in the graphics cards that you've got. It's like a drop-down menu, so you can put in 6 1080 Ti, which is what we've got outside, and it will bring up a huge list of all the mineable coins, and this bit over here tells you exactly how much profit you're making. So when we did this, it was about $22 to $25 a day, which was pretty much what you were getting. Now, Raven coin is the big coin that we're mining at the moment. A lot of you may or may not have heard of it. It's a coin that we believe in quite well. It's got a great team behind it. It's the most profitable coin to mine as of putting this presentation together. Now, where is Ethereum? Actually, all the way down here at number 15. So I have no interest in mining the 15th most profitable coin, because we all know that cryptocurrency is pretty much totally interchangeable, and I can just mine way more Raven coin, exchange it for Ethereum, buy twice as much Ethereum and pocket the change. So that's a really interesting way to kind of think about this. It kind of gets much wider and deeper than people think, which is really cool. So this is kind of when we talked about algorithms before, the languages these are all programmed in. Different cards, there's different types of cards you can get that do different powers. So a big card for Ethereum is the RX 580. So typically 6 months ago, a year ago, mining was dominated by these cards, and it was dominated mining Ethereum. In the last 6 months, 12 months, things have moved on a lot because we have all these other cards. So there are about 16 algorithms that are quite important. The RX 580 is fantastic for Ethereum, but it's nowhere near as powerful, as you can see, as the 1080 Ti on quite a lot of other algorithms. So what you end up with is, even though the cards can do lots of different coins, that particular type of card is much better suited for a few rather than a lot, which again is why, as a business, we only advertise that end card, because it's the most flexible for everything. Because I don't know what the most profitable coin to mine in 2 months is going to be, but I know that the equipment that we provide will be able to mine it. Which is fundamentally the reason why ASICs can be a bit of a problem, because I don't know and you don't know where the market's going to be. So by buying equipment that does one thing, you're somewhat limiting yourself. Not that that's a bad thing in every instance, but flexibility is quite vital. So some of you may or may not have been following the news and the kind of mining world at the moment. So we have this, if you've not gathered already, kind of 2 sides to mining, ASIC or GPU. And this Bitmain company is basically trying to edge in all those 16 algorithms we saw before. They're trying to nick a new algorithm and make the ASIC. So as well as Bitcoin, we'll make an Ethereum miner, and we'll make an EcoHash miner, and we'll take all these different coins, trying to stop machines like mine existing. To be quite honest, that's their goal, because they dominate the industry. They're a $3 billion company. They're huge. They made a lot of money last year. But what we're finding is Monero is a very big coin a lot of you heard of, totally GPU mineable. Bitmain tried to make an ASIC miner specifically for Monero, and the GPU mining community went, sorry guys, not having that, and they altered the algorithm tiny amount. But because those machines only do one thing very well, if you change the algorithm slightly, poof, dead. Killed millions of pounds of equipment overnight. And again, that's the risk with that type of equipment, that the kind of rug can be pulled from under your feet. Zcash, another big coin, is now spending a lot of time going into ASIC resistance. So there's a lot of these kind of community coins. You've been running all these coins and they've grown, and the mining has grown and grown, and all these hundreds of mining farms all over the world. People are not happy with one company, particularly this Chinese company Bitmain, dominating the world, because then we end up with this wonderful new decentralized currency and this decentralized world that we're creating, which effectively is then dominated by a single hardware manufacturer. So the ethos doesn't really add up to a lot of people. So there's a big resistance for the machines of this nature, because the idea behind Satoshi Nakamoto's original vision is one computer, one vote. So given now we're at a point where your computer looks a bit different, but the point is those graphics cards, in theory, anyone can have one in a computer and join the fun. You don't need specialist equipment, which is kind of what's really cool. So Ravencoin is a big new coin, and one of the reasons why it's doing so well is those algorithms that I keep banging on about, the 16 main types. Ravencoin is on a new algorithm called X16R. So basically it takes those 16 algorithms and automatically rotates them. So they can never make an ASIC machine for Raven, is the theory behind it at least. So there's a really big push in the community to try and keep everything as decentralized as possible, because I'm sure we can agree that's kind of the whole point of this, to get away from those types of people. 5, it's high maintenance. Oh, I'm not a computer guy. I don't know how to mine a rig. Oh, it's so confusing and all this computer stuff. Well, no, a few of you have asked us this morning how it all kind of works, and this is where it gets really, really interesting. So everything is entirely 100% totally done for you. If you can plug in a computer and turn it on, that's it. Copying and pasting might be the hardest bit. So there's 2 ways to run the machine, which we'll get to now. So one of the ways, which is running outside. So that thing you see out there, that mining rig, is a Windows 10 computer. You can go on Google with it. You can plug a screen into it, a monitor, mouse, and keyboard. It's a computer, the whole thing, just as you love and recognize. Now, on there, you can run a piece of software called NiceHash. And what NiceHash does is effectively scans your machine, scans not all the mineable coins, but the majority of mineable coins. And as the prices move in the market, it will automatically mine the most profitable coin at the time, which can change every 10 minutes. It will then mine that coin, sell that coin, and then pay you in Bitcoin. So you turn the machine on, copy and paste in your Bitcoin wallet address. It's not technically mining Bitcoin, it's mining other coins, but then pays you in Bitcoin. Sweet. Easy. And it literally has a start button, like copy, paste, start. I mean, that's as technological as it gets. So that's it really is as simple as this. Plug in your Ethernet cable, or it runs on Wi-Fi. Power packs, turn it on, check, press play. Nice and simple. Which is really pretty good to do. So it costs too much in electric. This is one of the favorite questions, particularly in the UK. Everybody goes, oh, these machines are so expensive. It's going to cost so much money. What are we going to do? How's it going to work? This is actually a very good breakdown of how it works. So our most powerful bit of kit, which is, to be honest, is 99% of what we provide, is about 130 quid a month in electric on domestic UK, or about £108 a month on commercial, because you get your VAT back on electric. So call it 130 quid a month. You don't really care how much the electric is if you're making way more money than that in crypto. It's pretty much the nutshell. Because actually, as we go through the numbers shortly, because that's kind of what I'm sure you guys are interested in, electric actually makes up quite a small component of your kind of money, because if this machine is mining crypto, obviously you're bothered about gaining crypto and where that market value is going to go. The electric bill is kind of somewhat of a non-issue. And as a customer, we get a lot of people saying, hey Josh, come and mine in Russia, come and mine in Romania, come and mine in all these other countries. And we actually don't advertise our services for any projects above £5 million outside of the UK. Because yes, you can go to somewhere like Romania or Poland and get electric at maybe 6 or 7 pence a kilowatt instead of 11 or 12 in the UK. So you might save 5p a kilowatt. Yeah, and if you've got £10 million a year, that does add up. But under that type of volume, you've got the shipping cost of moving stuff over there, you've got the import duty, you've got difference in quality in power grids, in broadband, you've got security as an issue, insurance is a real nightmare in some European countries. So actually, all things considered, the UK is a fantastic place to mine. You can insure your stuff, it's nice and safe, no one's going to come and chop your head off for a rig, and the electric grid is pretty good. We never really get blackouts or brownouts. It's a pretty good place to be. And the great news is as well on a political level with Brexit is everyone's got the head so far up the bum with sorting out Europe. Crypto regulation is just, no one's got a clue, which is fantastic for us, because I genuinely believe in the future, these machines do print money. That's what they do. And in the future, without question, the governments are not going to be happy about this. And I very much do see in 5 years, maybe, well, probably not sooner, but 5 years time plus, I think it's very fair to assume that you will need a mining license to mine, because you're effectively printing money. But right now, no such thing exists. Sorry, I've got questions at the end. If you can save it, then that'll be fantastic. Thank you. So you can see the different prices there, the kind of electric as we go. So again, it's too technical. Oh, it's so scary. As long as you can copy and paste, we can do the whole thing for you. So there's two ways to run the machine. There's the auto mine software way that pays you in Bitcoin, or you can choose to mine any coin of your choice in the whole wide world and hold that individual coin. So we'll get to, once we've gone through the myths, we'll get to what you can do with it later. So running the cards constantly kills them. All right, Josh, so your crazy machines are just made of graphics cards. Well, surely they're for playing games in a computer. You can't just leave them mining 24 hours a day. That's going to destroy them. Not true. So the best example of this is driving your car on the motorway versus stop-start city traffic. Yes, you're doing more distance on a motorway, but it's much better for your car than stop-start, stop-start, stop-start. So if you imagine these computer graphics cards are designed to play games. They're in a very small computer and they're off and they're on and they're off and they're on and the game and the computer stop and blah, 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 blah. That's quite hard on the components. The biggest degradation for any electrical item is heat. So heating up, cooling down, it's a bit of a problem. Whereas when they're mining, we actually undervolt the cards, so less electric goes to them than normal, whilst getting more power out for mining, and they run at constant temperature. So actually, the cards really do sit quite happily for a very long time indeed. In every single piece of equipment we've sold in the UK, we've not had a single card fail yet. Which, to be quite honest, is luck more than anything, because we've sold a lot of stuff. But it goes to show that, you know, because these are huge companies that manufacture this, we get all our stuff from NVIDIA, which is one of the biggest hardware providers in the world. You know, they've been doing this for 30 years. They know what they're doing, and their manufacturing processes are pretty good. So that's pretty much it. So a crypto expert to mine, you know, I'd like to think you guys in the room are definitely, you're the 1% from the 99% outside, that's for sure. But again, I appreciate, you know, this might be a bit much to do. But it's not, because it opens up the doors to kind of do anything. And that's kind of where we're going to lead into now, which is quite exciting. So, all right, Josh, so you've told us about these magical machines, you've blown a few myths out of the water, but what can I actually do with them? Why is it an advantage? Why would I even consider mining? Why is that a thing that's interesting to me? And this is kind of where it gets quite good. So again, we're totally transparent with what we do here. So we're going to take you through an exact breakdown of numbers at the most recent time, just to give you an idea of kind of where we're at. So we have a 3-step value proposition. Now this obviously is tailored for the company, but please apply this to mining in general. It's a very generalist thing. And how it works is you have your daily mining, step 1, so your machines are earning X, Y, Z per day. You have the asset value of the equipment that you own, which is really important, and we'll get onto that shortly. And then obviously the crypto growth, kind of 3 steps. So this is what it looks like, black and white. So that machine stood outside there at the moment. Will set you back 10 grand, 83 plus VAT, basically. Yes, you can get your VAT back through the business. Second kind of step, so you get your kind of 278 days-ish. That's averaged around 30 quid per day, which is pretty much what we got in the first quarter of this month and of last year combined. It roughly works out about £30 profit per day. January, of course, was stupid numbers. You know, that rig was earning close to £1,500, £1,600 profit per month. Madness, but on average, obviously April, May was a little bit lower, kind of on average about 30 quid a day is pretty much where we're at. That's the base number for all these numbers, by the way, guys. The residual resale value of those components. So unlike the ASIC stuff, where you've bought a machine just to mine one coin and that's it, and when a new one comes out, that is literally trash, throw the thing away. It's not a computer, you can't go on Google, you can't plug a monitor into it, it's a specialist bit of kit. GPU mining is effectively just a very posh computer. All of the stuff in there you could theoretically go and buy yourself in top-end computer places. So one of those graphics cards on there, all your kids and grandkids would go absolutely nuts for a 1080 Ti, because that's the most powerful thing to play games on in the world. You know, one of those makes a very nice computer. Strap 6 together and you're sweet. So what you end up with is, obviously, when you get stuff, all the boxes come with you, all the brand new stuff. So worst case scenario, crypto, you buy some loads of gear and then in 2 months' time, the whole crypto world explodes, falls down, boom, game over. Now, I know as well as you do that's not happening. But if it did, all the components in that bit of kit still intrinsically have their primary use case, which is to go in computers and for corporations to do deep learning, AI stuff, whatever. So their primary value is outside the crypto space. which is what makes it such an attractive bit of kit, because your backside's always covered, basically. So your true ROI, this middle bit, is effectively once you've mined enough crypto to cover the depreciation of value if you were to resell the goods. So that actually is a pretty small number indeed. And then the third step, which is obviously, okay, so you're mining 30 quid a day in profit. Yeah, amazing, great. But where's that going to be in the future? Because that's what we're all interested in. Where's crypto going? And that's when it starts to get really exciting. So this is the first kind of thing. When you start thinking about numbers, it's very easy to get fixated on pounds and pence. Please stop thinking in pounds and pence. So this is a really, really good example of what I mean by this. So in January, the machine you see out there, a 6-card 1082 Ti rig, was mining £1,500 profit per month. To be honest, probably a bit more than that. In April, it mined about £500 profit per month, after electric, by the way, guys. So you think there's a big difference between those two figures, Josh. 1,500 quid, now it's only 500 quid. Oh, mining's getting rubbish, this is stupid. But obviously what you have to realize is the amount of coins you mined was proportionally the same. It's just that the market price of those coins has changed. So if you believe obviously in the market and where it's going, that's going to sit you quite nicely. And this is where the kind of numbers start to play into a little bit of a more interesting situation. So let's just say you ignored the last slide and you're fixated on pounds and pence, as everybody is. Let's take that pound and pence value and give you some numbers off that, because people like the worst case scenario. So at £500 a month, by the time you've bought a rig, and if crypto never moved in price and it stayed exactly the same as where it is now, that's 6% a month. I mean, that's pretty good. You compare that to cash or property. It's funny, actually, we'll get to the next customer segment of where we have, but property developers go nuts for these things. Because you can just stick 10 in a house and then your house is fine and you don't have a tenant that destroys your carpets. Brilliant. So ultimately what you're buying is the Swiss Army knife of the mining world. It can do any coin, anytime, any place. Cool. So this is pretty much what the opportunities are when it comes to this, which is really exciting. So you can run an auto mine software, mine today's most profitable coin, mine newer, lesser known coins, mine in solo pools, or this will be interesting for the second half, you can even mine masternode coins. So it's not a competition, do both. So running auto mine software. So this is what I've kind of give you a quick allusion to. So it literally can just do its own thing. It switches, it doesn't contain every single coin, so sometimes there are more profitable ways to use a machine than this, but this is a very, very easy, pretty good 85–90% average, hands-free, click it, press go, copy paste, jobs are good and very easy machine. So typically we advise this for our starter customers, and then we move to another software, SMOS-based software, Linux software, for our larger farms, where you can control everything. We have customers that can control 100 mining rigs from logging in off your phone, and you click a button and it changes coin. It's really all automated now. So again, the difference is here, you don't own the coins that you mine, it sells them and then effectively uses a dollar value to pay you in Bitcoin. So that's the difference here. SMOS, Simple Mining Operating System, is another way to use the machine, and effectively what that does is you can pick any coin in the world, you can mine that individual coin, and obviously you need that coin's respective wallet, and then you can hold that coin as you so wish. Nice and simple. So this is kind of where things get really interesting. So you don't just have to mine today's most profitable coin. So you saw the example before, and Raven coin was the most profitable. Yeah, sure, you can do that. But what if you're like, actually, Josh, I haven't really heard of Raven, not that bothered about it. Well, you've got two options. You could mine Raven coin and then convert it into something else that you believe in, like Ethereum in the example we used before, get twice as much, sweet. Or you could actually mine a much smaller coin that maybe you think's about to go to a new exchange. Or maybe you think it's just come out, and obviously when a new coin comes out, it has a really teeny tiny difficulty, and you can gather a ridiculous amount of coins. I mean, I had a friend who actually, another mining friend in America who was part of the Ravencoin team, and in the first week it came out, he was using the same rig that I have, the same rig that we provide. He made 30 grand in a week. because you can mine these teeny tiny coins in tens of thousands, and then all of a sudden they hit an exchange and are worth a couple of cents each. Poof. There's a lot of opportunity there because there's over 1,600 coins now on the market, new mineable coins coming out every day. There aren't any numbers for those things because the market's all over the show, but there's a lot of possibility. So that's one way to kind of do things. Now this is where it gets interesting too. So again, without blowing your mind on the technicals, mining is quite difficult at a big scale. So the way it works is you typically will join a mining pool, which effectively is just a team of miners. So if you imagine loads of people in a mine shaft and they're all picking away with pickaxes trying to get a little lump of gold, there's 100 people down there with pickaxes, and one person finds a chunk of gold. If that chunk of gold was Bitcoin, at the moment the block reward is 12.5 Bitcoin. So between those 100 miners, 12.5 Bitcoin will be distributed. They'd all get 1% each. Now in reality, there's one guy who's got deep pockets and he's got 60% of the mining power, so we'll get 60% and then it will be split equally distributed on power. Now, if you own your own rigs and you may be thinking and want to try in some maybe smaller coins, you don't have to join a pool where you split the reward. So all the figures I've given you are completely on average, join in any average mining pool and you just get a split of what everyone's doing. You can, if you so wish, make your own little pool, your own team of miners. And then what happens then is if you find the block reward, which for Bitcoin is every 10 minutes, but for other coins like Raven is actually every 1 minute, and the coin reward for Raven is 5,000 coins every minute. That's some going. So you can actually solo mine in your own pool, hit the blocks, and all of a sudden, you know, the way it works there is it's 0, 0, 0, 0 block. And if you find a block, happy days. In fact, there was a report that came in just this week actually. Someone on a normal computer CPU decided to solo mine, being an idiot because it's virtually impossible to do now, and he actually found a Bitcoin block, made 12.5 Bitcoin. I mean, the chances of that happening are like 1 in stupid amount. Like it's literally like getting struck by lightning 5 times. It's completely ridiculous that happpened. But on a more realistic level, solo mining is a very tangible thing to do with a bit of kit and these somewhat smaller coins. Anything under a kind of 100 million market cap, you can have a really good stab at. Now, mining masternodes. So a lot of you are familiar with masternodes, a lot of you aren't. No doubt the guys at the back are going to give you an amazing rendition of what they are and how it works. But it's not a competition. You can, of course, there's at the moment, as of this morning, there's 203 or 202 masternodable coins in total in the whole cryptocurrency world. Over 170 of those are GPU mineable. So the way masternodes work is you have so much of a coin, you stake that coin, and effectively the simplest way to think about it technically is it becomes a bit, you know like in the middle of a farm, you'll have like a mobile phone signal booster. Kind of think of it like that. All the crypto transactions go through that and you get a bit of commission. Easiest way to think about it. So you can mine enough coins to then just stake as a masternode. So instead of dumping 50 grand on a masternode, you can actually get equipment to mine any masternode of your choice and then do it that way too. So there's lots and lots of possibilities with this type of equipment. And again, you receive that thank you. So this is pretty much kind of, you know, okay, sounds great, Josh, but what type of people are buying these crazy machines? Are you mad? Property investors are our big customers, actually. Again, you know, why would you drop 100 grand on a property and get, you know, you put a tenant in there and you might get, if you're doing very well in the UK, you might get 8 or 9% yield on a typical property rent these days, which is pretty good. You know, what you're getting in the bank, 1%, inflation's running at 3%. So, you know, technically you're losing 2% of your own money in the UK at the moment if your money's in the bank. So property investors, drop 100 grand on a house, stick a tenant in there, 8%, 9% a year. If you can even find a house for 100 grand, that's not going to happen. Whereas if you spent 100 grand on rigs, all of a sudden, you're earning 7.5 grand a month from no tenant. Just plug it in the plug socket, it's internet enabled, boof, off you go. Virtual tenants, right? So that's kind of a big area for us. Business owners. So because you're effectively just buying a computer, you can get the VAT back. You can, you know, some customers have even used it for R&D tax credits, which is none of my business. How you put it through your books is totally up to you. But some people may or may not have done that on the back. So, I'm researching a new coin, 130% through tax. So there's certain ways to do that there, but of course you are just buying a computer, so you can of course write it down as a depreciating asset through your books on the business the same way you would any other computer, which is interesting bit of kit to do. Individuals, so we've had retired couples buy some, put a bit of pension money in. We've had, last month we had a customer whose wife was going on maternity leave, so we thought, that'll be a nice way to have some extra income coming in. That was kind of cool. All sorts of different people that just really want passive income. Crypto traders, we get a lot of people that trade crypto, because obviously we accept full Bitcoin payment, full crypto payment. And everyone's like, oh Josh, what if you take a 10 grand rig and then Bitcoin halves overnight? Good. Like, I'm not going to stand here and sell your products and not take crypto. I'll die on my own sword. Great. I'm not bothered, because in 10 years' time, I'll have made 5 times the profit off you. Thanks, guys. I believe it entirely. So crypto traders are good. Farmers is another big kind of thing that we have. Farmers typically have, so in the UK particularly, what's really interesting is there's a lot of people that have, solar panels, wind farms, turbines. And the way that works in the UK is you get paid a tariff, typically about 4.5p a kilowatt for generating that electric. Now, some of the larger customers I have, we're working with a lot of waste-to-energy firms at the moment, where they take what would be landfill waste, incinerate it, make cheap electric. And the connection fee to connect their little power plants or solar farms or wind farms to the grid, it can be over 2.5 million quid. It's a lot of money. And then you get paid 4.5p, and that's the business model. Great. But actually, if you just stick on a shed load of mining rigs on the super cheap power that you're generating, all of a sudden you're earning way more money than you ever would on tariff. So that's a new thing. In fact, I've actually just met a customer who has a waste-to-energy firm. So he takes waste that would go to landfill, incinerates it, sells the base products, very good for the environment. He then mines on the cheap electric, great. He then uses the heat that's generated from all these GPUs. He's got a lot. Heat isn't an issue, don't worry about it, but obviously if you've got 100, something to consider. He then uses the heat to then actually grow medical marijuana. Right. Now here's the thing. I was like, nah, you can't do that in the UK, easy tiger, like you're pulling some stunts here. Apparently, so this is the thing, apparently the UK is one of the largest growers of medical marijuana. How's that a thing? Like I was like, nah, no way, surely not. But apparently, because it's totally illegal here, we ship it all to Canada and America, because over there the laws to grow it are more strict than here. Didn't even know that was a thing. So I was like, well, that's very carbon neutral, I guess, like, whatever. Okay, sure. And then investment groups as well. So I spend a lot of time in London at the moment doing a lot of big consortium investment groups, because obviously, as you can imagine, there's a lot of kind of hedge fund managers. I'm sure maybe Simon will touch on this later. Like, one of the reasons I at least believe the market's quite stagnant at the moment, I do a lot of consulting with the big firms in London, and at the moment it's totally illegal for the big people to get involved, no pensions, no hedge funds, none of these big boys. But that's all changing, all the regulation is being moved through. And as soon as those gates open, off to the races we go. So a lot of people are getting savvy to that now and are getting involved in this type of activity before that happens. So, I've kind of given you a good run through here. So, for business, depreciating assets, virtual tenants, we've kind of been through all that type of stuff. And that's really where we get to. So this is a really interesting thing with crypto traders particularly, but it affects you guys a lot. So how many of you in the past have kind of set up like an S&P account or a eToro account, and they give you like £10,000 free, it's like free play money. And in 6 months, you're a millionaire. Because you make all these crazy trades because it's not real money, right? You're just like, whatever, and something goes really well. Well, interestingly, we find that customers who purchase mining equipment do ferociously well trading. Because once you've bought gear, you never have to put your hand back in your pocket again to buy crypto. You end up with effectively free spins at the casino every month. So people end up quite liking that idea and trade quite aggressively. So obviously, that kind of works well if you're quite active on trading. The psychology changes, which is really interesting. So yeah, solar panels, wind farms, this type of stuff is kind of where we go. So who is crypto for? Pretty much anyone that wants to involve a passive income. So fundamentally, the alternative is mining is pretty much the safest way, at least I would say. Some people say different things. Hopefully Simon won't bite my head off for saying this, but I believe it's the safest way to invest in the crypto space, because you own physical hardware assets that outside of crypto are still worth money. So yes, of course you could put 10 grand on a coin and it could go up and you could make more money, absolutely. But everyone's risk profile is different. And this is kind of a good, very kind of solid middle ground as an entry point for that type of thing. How much money do you think one mining rig would have made last year, January 2018? What numbers would you throw at me?
Is that after paying back for the rig, or just
in total in a year? Yeah, in total, how much money do you think it would have done?
13,590.
Yeah, so we got 30,000 here. Any other kind of answers? You two guys aren't allowed. It's fine. You know the answer. So you'd probably, so it cost you 10 grand, and then you made maybe your 30 quid a day, so you got 270 days, and okay, I made a couple of grand on the tail end of it. And now I've still got a machine that's mining now. You'd be like, oh sweet, I'm good. That machine's good to go for another 2 years. Excellent, 30 quid a day. Bring it on. This is crypto. Things move. £92,000 a single rig made in profit last year. Why? You guys know the answer. 30 quid profit in January was £300 a day profit by December. And that's really why these things are so exciting, because even at completely basic static rates, nothing going anywhere, I'll take 6% a month all day long. But we all know that ain't gonna stick around, because this is crypto. So this is kind of it. Everyone goes, oh, you should have bought Bitcoin 5 years ago. All the other coins out there provide those similar types of opportunities in different ways, in different mechanisms. They're not all going to do crazy millions of percents, but this is the fastest growing industry in the world, and it's a great way to be excited about it. So this is kind of us. This is up. We're going to be here all day to kind of help you out. So hopefully that was helpful for you. And I think we've got 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes for a Q&A, and 10 minutes at the back. So I'd love to help answer any of your questions. Thanks, guys. Sir, who's that here?
minimum broadband speed you need to run on?
Internet speed, yeah, this is a great one. So just to put it in perspective, my entire facility, all my machines, every single one, runs off one megabyte connection. Internet's a complete non-issue. You can practically run them on dial-up. All the processing is done on the cards, providing you've got a solid connection. Internet speed is a non-issue.
And if it drops out?
If it drops out, you stop mining. When it comes back, you pick up where you left off. Simple as that.
Is that automatic?
Yeah, totally automatic. Yeah, it just reconnects automatically, the same way your normal computer would do. Sorry, lady.
How do we arrange with the
Sorry, thank you.
utilities provider?
How do we arrange with the utilities providers if we've been sort of getting residential, electricity consumption? How do we sort of, do we have to notify them that there's suddenly going to be a huge jump, or what happens?
Yeah, it's definitely best to. Sorry, I'll just shout. It's fine. You can pass it around. So I'll be up and down all day. So yeah, it's better to notify them. But the reality of it is we all know they make money on everything they sell you, so they're not bothered because they earn more money. Definitely best to notify them. But fundamentally, we've not had a customer report any issue with them other than a call, oh, your bills have gone up. Okay, maybe you should get a meter installed to monitor it a bit more accurately so you're not in debt or balance each month. That's about the answer, really.
You mentioned the rig generates a little bit of heat.
Yes.
Is there a particular place that you need to put it for the installation, or can you just put it under your desk?
So yeah, the kind of advice we give to customers is put a machine in anywhere where you'd be happy to run a normal computer. So you wouldn't want to put it in a cupboard under the stairs. A bit of airflow is quite good for it. So you wouldn't want to put it in a damp, horrible cobweb garage, but basements that are clean, or spare rooms, or anywhere really. But the thing is like that picture before, you can get some shelves and in a very small footprint, stack quite a few together, and it doesn't take up a lot of footprint at all. The footprint's very small for the output.
What about the noise levels? I know there's great sort of noise.
That's another great question. So the ASIC miners, a lot of you may have seen those videos on YouTube of these mining farms and people have got ear protectors on, they're going totally deaf, and it's absolutely wild. They're industrial grade equipment, whereas you can go and stand next to that bit outside and it's practically silent. I mean, yes, you can hear them, but I sleep next to one, I'll put it that way. It's, yeah, it's just, I mean, I get to wake up next to a machine that pays me money. It's, yeah, it's quite cool. Yes, I am single. Thanks for that. Yeah, okay, yeah. If anybody asks, okay, I'm married to the business and I have a child called BMW, so it's fine. It's good. Thank you. Sorry.
Sorry, I just want to know, what's the typical kilowatt output?
Perfect. Yeah, so it's 1,300 watts per 6-card rig. So for argument's sake, a hairdryer is 2,000. But of course, that is on 24 hours a day. So you're looking around, on domestic, around £3.50 a day in electric. On commercial, around £130 a month on domestic, around £108 a month on commercial. Just wherever the mic's going.
So, you mentioned the fact that these, way back in the beginning, you talked about Windows computers.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any problem if you're using Apple computers?
No, not at all. So the machines themselves are computers. You do not need another computer to use a machine. So everything is in one box. You can access the machine remotely via a Mac, via your phone, via a tablet, if you so wish, but fundamentally you do not need anything else whatsoever.
Joe, you talked about master loading and the fact that maybe we've seen mining disappear with sort of concerns about electricity consumption. Can you go into that a bit more? Why do we need to mine? Why would it not all go to master loading?
It's quite a complex answer, and I'll take you through that outside, no problem. I'm sure there's probably some shorter answers I could give at this point, but I'd be more than happy to take you through that outside.
On some of the second-hand sites like eBay and etc., you see some very, very large rigs being sold second-hand because they don't mine Ethereum anymore. Are those people exiting the market because of resale value or uneducation? Or
Yeah, so fundamentally that's what we get, and you're completely correct. If you go on eBay, there's loads of rigs on eBay, and oh, it's a 6-card rig for $3,000. Josh is selling one for 10. What an idiot! It's fundamentally different technology. So like I said before on that slide where we had the RX cards, they were very, very good and are still very good for mining Ethereum. Ethereum at this point in time is not a bad coin to mine if you've got the gear already, but if you are purchasing hardware at this point specifically to mine that coin, it's a bad value proposition. The cards that we use, the Ethereum out of those 16 algorithms smashes 1 very well. Price per pound ratio, whereas the other cards that we use are the best across the entire board. So when other coins come out that are more profitable, people that have those older setups or that more specific setup struggle, which is why we've seen a sell-off of that type of equipment. You don't see this type of equipment being sold off because we're seeing the profit numbers speak for themselves.
Hi Josh. How long does one rig last for? You mentioned 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, so the honest answer is I don't know, because these cards particularly are less than 2 years old. We cover 12 months warranty and everything that comes with the parts, so you're good to go pretty much hopefully till you get your money back. But Nvidia is the company that produces all this stuff. There are people out there mining with graphics cards 4 years old and still smashing it. So again, it's this whole kind of look after it thing. So the fact that they stay at a decent temperature, running consistent, should extend the life, a good few years. I mean, in theory, the cards shouldn't break before they become unprofitable, a few years down the line. That's pretty much where things are at this point, if you look after them, which is easy to do, providing you've not put it in a sauna or a cupboard under the stairs.
One more question.
Sorry, just going back to that question about electricity consumption, I've heard that the cost in terms of energy of producing a single Bitcoin is the equivalent of the entire nation's electricity consumption from Japan, normal. So how does this compare to that sort of energy gobbling?
Yeah, it's a very valid concern. A lot of people often say, mining is so ridiculous, it uses all this electric to get this virtual currency, this is stupid. At the moment, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency mining as a whole consumes 0.13% of the world's power. It's a fair number, I guess, and it will only increase. But on the back of that, no one offsets the other side of the question. No one goes, how many trees are you chopping down for all that paper you're using? Or no one understands, now we're kind of ripping off the plaster. Yes, we're using a lot of power. Yes, we're doing all these problems. But once you understand the fundamental advantages of blockchain, so AXA Insurance have just brought out an Ethereum protocol to automate insurance payouts. So at the moment, you get flight insurance, and that flight doesn't take off. Customer services, blah, 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 blah. 2 weeks later, hassle, you might get a check in the post. The way it's going now is the second that plane doesn't take off, you instantly get paid. No middlemen in the middle. apply that process to transit, logistics, food, distribution, the amount of energy that this will save, the amount of oils this will save, the amount of infrastructure. Blockchain will be the greatest mover of economy and of green energy and of value we're ever going to see. It's just that right now, yeah, there's a bit of a rip the plaster off moment to kind of get to that point. So it is a problem at the moment, I appreciate, but knowing the bigger view, it's something that I'm totally on board to be part of. Thank you, thanks guys.